What's up, everybody? Jason and Joe here. Tastes Like Music. Coming at you with a review today. We're talking about the new release by Tune Yards. They won our poll this week for release of the week, something new we're doing. If you want to vote for what we review next week, go check out our post tab. You can vote there. It was kind of a weird week this week. Not a lot of big names, so we just threw a couple that we thought it might be at least recognizable to people. Tune Yards ran away with it. I was a little surprised at how easily they took the poll. Wasn't really sure if people still cared about Tune Yards. They were a band that kind of had their moments, and they were everywhere. And their record "Who Kill" in 2011 was like their big moment in the sun. They won the Paz and Jop poll that year, critics poll. They were on just about every other top of the year list that year. There was a Chuck Klosterman essay about them. So they were kind of omnipresent. They had a ton of placements in TV shows and stuff. And at the time, I was not very into them. And I don't know. I did not have a lot of expectation going into this either.
I had seen the name Tune Yards before. I didn't ever want to listen to them because I didn't like the way their name was capitalized. It's like Tune Yards. It's got that like big capital letter, small letter, capital letter, small letter. I thought it was lame, so I never listened to one of their albums. So I knew nothing about them. I had no idea that they were so big at one point, at least critically acclaimed. So this was all a learning experience for me this week.
I don't know. They always just kind of struck me as like a little too quirky. And I like a lot of quirky bands. So that's not like an automatic thing that I'm gonna ignore you because you're quirky. But I wasn't into like all of the looping and like sampling and stuff that they did. And it seemed like a little gimmicky to me at the time. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention to the music, but I just felt like they were getting a lot of praise for the presentation of what they were doing and like looping stuff live and being kind of a little funky. They have a little bit of groove to them. But I never loved the songs and I never loved the vocals. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to them. I definitely heard Who Kill back when it was getting a ton of praise. I listened to it probably once and never thought of it again. And then I have the 2018 record rated in my Rate Your Music account, and I have zero recollection of listening to it. I gave it 3 stars. So yeah, going in blind
You're,
here.
you're not a fan, is what you're trying to say.
I've not been a fan.
Well, I this album was very unexpected to me because, like I said, when I see the name Tune Yards, like I always just thought they were gonna either be like I don't know, like a Kaiser Chiefs kind of band, or like just sort of like a throwback indie rock band type of thing. So I really had no concept of what this album was going to sound like. So when I put it on, I was like, I was basically just confused because I was trying to like find the influences, and it just kind of, I don't know, I was having trouble just like placing any of the songs and the sounds and the influences. So I had to go back. I went back and listened to Who Kill just to see like is this how they've always sounded, or is like this just a kind of a takeoff of some more 2020s type of like R&B and soul and Afro beats and stuff like that. So it confused me. I listened to it once and I was like, I have no idea how to even talk about this because it doesn't have any like place in my musical existence. So I went back, listened to Who Kill. Makes sense now. And I do think it is a very cool sound, and it's cooler to me because this is their sound. Like you really don't have too many other artists that sound anything like this that combine, the fusion of world beat and Afro pop and some art pop and dance and funk and R&B and this kind of aggressive. but also pretty vocal style, very direct, very wordy, and I think a lot of care goes into the lyrics. I think that was especially apparent on Who Kill. And the sound, I think people who like Who Kill, this is like Who Kill, but it seems like it's a little more mellowed out. It's a little chiller, a little less aggressive. It still kind of has a big sound, but it's kind of like their middle age, calm down, make it a little more melodic, make it a little prettier, not try and push the envelope in a way. A lot of emphasis on the bass and drums. I think their bass player is really good. He's a very groovy, good bass player, kind of chill, but he doesn't doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of heavy lifting musically, a lot of funky stuff. Uh, Especially on like the Hypnotic Swarm. I like the vocals. They're a little sparse, and she does some like talky bits a lot. And it's not like my preferred style of vocals, but I think on here, less, on Who Kill, it was a lot of talking and a lot of sort of like sharp lyrics without a lot of melody. I think there's more melody here, a lot more vocal layering, some real pretty stuff. And some of the songs are pretty, and some of them are kind of like pointed, and some of them are funky. And it's not too experimental, but there's, experimental edge to it. There's some Afrobeat stuff peeking through. And I think it's a very cool sound. A lot of percussive elements. How Big is the Rainbow has a great funk bass line and some kind of weird drum sounds that you wouldn't hear normally in a, regular American or British indie band. It's an interesting sound. Like, like I said, when I was listening to it, I really couldn't like just, figure out what influences that she's pulling in, what they're pulling in for this, but it's very much how I think you'd expect Tune Yards to sound. Just a little smoothed out. I think it ends really well with Sanctuary. The "We are not the weight we carry" refrain is really pretty and it kind of builds, and there's more layers and layers of Meryl that kind of gets added in. It's powerful. It's moving stuff. An excellent closer. And I did enjoy it. I don't know how much I enjoyed it once I got past the, unexplored territory. The unfamiliarity was a hook at first, but then I kind of got used to it and I listened to some of their other stuff. I think there's some songs, maybe a song or two that could make my end of the year top 25. But I think as a whole album, it's like right at 3.5, high 3.5 stars. And I'll give it another listen at the end of the year. But I liked it and it was very interesting, but I don't know how much I would listen to it again outside of having to do it for the channel.
Well, this new one grabbed me right away. I think Heartbreak's really strong. And then the next couple tracks too, I like a lot. Swarm, Never Look Back, Suspended, Limelight, pretty much through the first half, and that I don't know that the back half even dropped off that much. So I enjoyed it way more than I expected to. I think I don't know what happened between Who Kill and this. Maybe nothing happened. Maybe I'm just misremembering or my tastes have changed and grown. But from what my recollection of that record was to this, um, it just feels more well crafted, more centered around songs. And like they're still using rhythm in a similar way that they were, and they still have those world beat, world music influences, but it feels more like part of who they actually are now, and less like something they're like putting on to, impress people or to be different or whatever. I think the vocals are really strong. The lyrics are really strong. A lot of stuff pointed at the current state of the world, and juxtaposing that against kind of happy, upbeat, danceable grooves. I think it works really well. I like the vocal production a lot. There was one track, I forget which one, where the vocals were layered in such a way that it had this like glam rock feel to it. Yeah, I just thought songs were good. Well written, well crafted, well recorded, good presentation. Didn't seem like they were trying too hard, like I had thought in the past. So, just all around, I think a well-rounded record, and I am getting up to 4 stars on it. I think it's pretty nice.
Okay, yeah, it's I thought you'd like this one. It seemed like your style a little bit. Going back, I mean, I have not heard the albums in between Who Kill and Better Dreaming, so I have no idea what happened there. But this seems like a pretty straight path to this. It's just tighter songs, better melodies. I think there's more emphasis on like the danceable aspect of it. It's not like a dance record, but the grooves are very strong and the bass playing is very strong. And it's got a little bit of that like modern indie disco, just a hint, not too much. They don't, throw it on and layer it on too thick. But I think that probably, a little bit of an influence on this, where it's a little more, a little more groovy than Who Kills seemed like it was very arty and maybe too arty for art's sake instead of, concentrating on the songs. And this seemed like it was more crafted around the songs first.
Yeah, less precious here, I think, and less cutesy. And I mean, this is almost like a rock record in a way. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Shocked. So nice find, nice surprise. Good thing people voted for it. Otherwise, I might not have listened to it at all. Okay, that's what we think of this one. Let us know what you think, and head over to the post tab. There's some bigger names going to be in the poll this week. Lana Del Rey, Sparks, probably going to be fighting it out. There's also a Stereo Lab, and we'll figure something else to put out in the 4 spot. So go vote, and we'll see you with that review next week. Check the video description for all of our social media and our Patreon and our record label and our merch, and hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.